What's up, everyone? I'm going to give everybody a few minutes to join, and then we'll get started here. What's up, guys? We'll give everybody like one more minute to join, and then we can get started here. Make sure you're on mute. I have the chat up, so if you have tickers you want me to look at, I can go over them. If you hear stuff in the background, it's because I'm sitting by the beach. And so hopefully it's soothing rather than annoying, right? Okay. Okay. Let's get started here. All right. So first things first, I have the chat pulled up. So if you guys have questions on tickers you want me to look at, we can go over those. Okay. So let's just take a look at a clear view, right? So no indicators. We just got the squeeze. I'm not going to trade without it. So we're always going to have that on there. We'll just kind of take a look at what's going on. So to make this really simple, looking at the charts, right? So we draw out structure, right? For a while, we were creating higher highs and higher lows. And then now, this is the structure we've looked at, right? So now we're here. Okay. So basically, that's kind of what we're looking at. So make sure this is recording. Cool. Okay. So pull this down and we can take a look at structure. So this is where we're currently at. Right here. And you can notice we're just making, first we had an uptrend, right? So we had higher low, higher high, consolidation, higher high, consolidation, lower high, made a lower low, and now we're kind of making a lower low. So that's what we're kind of looking at right now. So that's main thing we're kind of paying attention to here. And we're just simply going to follow the trend. It looks like a pretty clear trend to me. You can see lower low, lower high, lower low, and then we made a lower high. Now we're attempting to make a lower low. You will see in the futures, we're gapping up a little bit. This is kind of expected to, usually we'll open up a little bit higher just to wipe out all the shorts that were in positions that got in positions on Friday. They missed the move. And so they're probably going to liquidate some shorts and we'll kind of see that. It's kind of expected. If we take a look at the volume, take a look at that real quick. Okay, you can see kind of the volume has been increasing on the way down. Notice how on this rally, we had declining volume. And then once we started to consolidate, start to sell off, the volume increased. So kind of makes sense. If because obviously on these bounces, we call them dead cat bounces, right? So we'll have them move up, and then the selling pressure starts to continue because that's ultimately the trend that we're in. So that's kind of the few things that we're looking at here. Now, if we throw the EMAs on, you can see we've kind of created this new downtrend. If we go to maybe something like the
Yeah.
here on SPY,
Yeah.
be a little easier to see, but we're just continuing this trend. We tried to hold the uptrend, but we got really sloppy, and now we're kind of creating a
You want
downtrend.
more?
So that's what we're looking at here. So how am I kind of expecting to play this market? The same way I would expect to play anything else, right? We're in a downtrend, so I expect us to trend down. Like, I don't expect us to move up. Yeah, sorry about that. Let me mute them. Got it. Okay. Thank you. Okay, so what we're watching, like if you just want to look at price action and kind of dissect it, we just created a double top here in a downtrend and continued our downtrend. So that's all that we're really paying attention to here. It's really simple. So as for targets and things to pay attention to, we'll use this here. We've got a low here, and then, which I'm expecting us to go tag. So we might liquidate shorts in the morning, meaning we gap up, get some people out of their shorts, and then maybe pull up to these EMAs and then flush back down. But really, to make it really simple, we're just looking for squeeze plays to indicate that we'll probably see a move lower, right? So we can take the volume off. And so really all we're doing at this point is playing the trend. We had some unclear direction for the past 2 weeks and then finally broke out and decided our direction, right? So really that's all that happens. And I talk about this almost weekly. So I hope you guys are learning this. Somebody said probably play the 1 hour, 15 minutes to get in. I mean, really just play the squeeze, right? Play a squeeze play that lines up with the strategy, and then you take entry. But so what we're looking at is, like, you can see the same thing happens over and over and over again. So consolidation, impulse move, smaller consolidation, impulse move, consolidation, impulse move, consolidation, impulse move, consolidation, impulse move. And what do you know? We had a consolidation and then an impulse move. So anytime you get to these points where it's like, okay, this is interesting, we're creating a consolidation, and that's happening, you kind of expect for a big move to come. So everybody shies away from chop, but really that's just an indication that big money is loading up for the next move. So that's kind of what you need to pay attention to. So the indicators that I use the moving averages. So I have on the chart, I have now is the 8, 21, 34, 55, and 89 EMAs. They're basically Fibonacci retracement ones. And that's an indicator that I custom made for the signals chat. So they all have access to that. If you want to get access to that, just DM me or join the signals chat and you can get it. And then you can get that indicator. And then this is the squeeze, which if you look up squeeze, it's this, it's by Beardy Fred right here. TTM Squeeze Pro by Beardy Fred. That's the one that I use. So I have the EMAs on here. I have the squeeze, and that's really it. I don't use anything else. Okay, you guys might find this helpful. So anybody that uses the ATR, you'll find this helpful. If you search the average true range label, like pull up this one by whatever this name is here, That will, instead of putting the ATR on your chart, like that line and indicator stuff, it'll just give you the raw number for whatever time frame you're looking at right here. So that's been, I found that last week, so I've been using that instead of putting it on the chart. So that's a pretty helpful tool. So as for the markets, right? Like really all we're doing is we've got a trend here. So we have a clear trend of lower highs and lower lows. Put that pretty simply, right? And then from there, now we just continue to play this trend. It would be nice to get a pretty solid gap up in the morning, somewhere around Thursday's close, to start a position in SPY puts. And I would really like to do that this coming week to get into SPY puts. And basically what I'm looking for is to target this area right around here. So for SPY, it would first be like this 418 area. That's what I'm looking for first. So a move to this 418 area is kind of where I'm looking for. I'd like to get an entry closer to this 429 to catch an entry down to the 418 area. So that's what I'm looking at for SPY. Looks bearish. If this daily squeeze ends up firing this off, that could really get us to this here. It could really be bad, honestly, if that weekly squeeze fires off short, which it looks like it might. We're getting the EMAs starting to cross. You can see on futures, it looks a little worse. And we've got momentum shifting to the downside and gaining momentum to the downside. So not looking too great in terms of the weekly time frame. But if you take a look at the monthly time frame, you can see this might just be a mean reversion to the 21 EMA, maybe a little lower, maybe to 4,000 potentially if it continues. But I'm not really, like, if we hit 4,000, I won't really expect us to go too much lower than that. I'm expecting this monthly squeeze to fire off to the long side. Might make it a little tougher if the weekly squeeze fires off to the short side. So we just have to be conscious and pay attention to that. So that's what I'm watching for SPY. And if you did, like, I'll show you guys this. So like SPY, if you take a look at just the plays that you could have taken based off the strategy I've been teaching you guys, there were so many clean entries here for short plays. If you were watching SPY, the 2 hour, here's a clean short entry. Here's another clean short entry. 30-minute, same thing with QQQ. It gave us a lot of opportunities as of last week. So let's just continue to be patient and see if we can get a good entry for this this daily squeeze and look to play that to the downside. Now, if we get some continued downside, I'd like to see, one of the names that I'm kind of paying attention to is Snow. This one looks really bearish. It looks like we could probably head back down to 120 and retest kind of this demand zone that we bounced off of every time. And notice how many times we bounced off it. So it may be likely we could break it at some point here. So I really like Snow from a longer term perspective to go short on this name and look for a pretty significant downside move in this name, as long as the market continues to head lower. We don't have earnings till the end of next month. So I think this name could be a very good short based off this weekly squeeze. And then another name that I was watching, Chinese internet stocks. Pretty random, but somebody brought this up to me the other day. This chart looks very bearish as well. I think first we will get a flush down to kind of this zone here. We can make it a bit smaller. Could probably have something more like this here. Back down to this 24 area, and then potentially you would look for it to go tap this low, as well as potentially go test this here. So this is another name that I'm kind of watching. It's kind of off the radar, I guess you'd say, but looks like a pretty good short. But I really do like Snow for the short side. And another thing to keep in mind, we do have Microsoft, Meta, Google, Amazon all reporting this week. And if you trade oil stocks, we have Exxon reporting as well this week. This one, it's just a choppy mess, right? I mean, the news, we had a great run up, we had news, and then now we just look like crap. So in terms of the weekly squeeze, everything looks intact. This name could definitely fire long and break new 52-week highs, which actually is all-time highs. But I'm not going to be playing this name. I'm just going to wait and see how the earnings report comes out and see what happens from there. And then as for QQQ, this name, so this one looked a lot better than SPY, but it's still falling apart just like SPY is. Whatever SPY ends up doing, the rest of the market is going to do as well. So this name, I have to remain bearish on it just because of the way SPY's chart looks. But if we look at like the weekly, it's still a good looking chart. We're holding up well. It's still a bull flag. We can still move down to this 350 area and still be intact for a bull flag. So I'm not, you can't get too bearish on the longer time frames. But yeah, that's what I'm kind of paying attention to here. Also, not to mention the put call ratio, the 10-day moving average is over 1.0. We remained over that. So I think a significant drop in the markets is pretty unlikely. So I do think we have more downside. Like I said, I'm targeting, like for ES, I'm kind of targeting this low and then this area support here around 4,200. And I think this is probably an area that we will more than likely bounce. If we don't, I'd probably look for us to head back down to the main key levels of 4,100 and then 4,000, which for SPY, that would coincide with really like 410 and then 400. So, but I can't say for sure. I'm just going to play the charts as they show up, but I'm not going to be getting short here around 4,000 or 418, 415 area on SPY until it proves that it's not going to hold. So that's kind of what I'm watching into this week, keeping a close eye on the indexes. I'd rather short SPY than QQQ, but as you know, I play setups. I don't necessarily play certain tickers. So I'm just going to be paying attention to the indexes. If they give me some short trades, I'll take them. If they give me some long trades, I'll do that as well. And then, yeah, so that's what I'm kind of watching into this week. Let's see here. We don't have any squeeze plays developing on ES. That'll probably change by the morning, but that will probably give us a direction into tomorrow. So yeah, I will take your guys' charting requests. Just send them in the chat and I'll look over those. So let's see here. Take a look at Microsoft. And I see people saying any technical analysis on Tesla, NVIDIA, AMD. I mean, it's really going to do whatever the rest of the market does, but we can take a look and see what's going on here. So Microsoft, this one looks better than the market. So I'd like to see it hold up, but really, am I going to play this before earnings? I'm probably just not going to touch it. So that's really most likely what it's going to come down to. I'm probably not going to touch this until after earnings. Same with Google, same with Amazon, same with any of the names reporting this week, Meta, things of that nature, because earnings is kind of a gamble and there's no reason to play it. I might as well just wait till after the report to see what it wants to end up doing. If you want to gamble on the earnings reports, you can, but that's just not my cup of tea. I don't really gamble in trading, right? So, uh, I don't really have an opinion on this one. Do I think it's bearish? Yes, because I mean, if you just take a look at structure, we look like we're creating a lower high to further create a lower low. But like I said, with earnings, anything can happen. So it's kind of my take on this one. Tesla, this one, you had a short squeeze fire off based on the earnings report that came out. So really, there's nothing to do here. The only thing I see that you could potentially do is we have this support here. You can see support, support, resistance, support here. So maybe we see a bounce here, but you're also trying to catch a falling knife. So I don't really see the benefit of trying to play that one there. It's just nothing to really do here. It's in a spot where you don't necessarily want to touch it, in my opinion. NVIDIA. So this is kind of in a tricky spot, right? So like if we take a look at this, we've got a head and shoulders here. You can see shoulder, head, shoulder, and we're kind of at that neckline, right? So if you want to take the break, that's cool. But probably the best type of thing you're going to get is if we break down below and pull back, then I would kind of look for my entry because everybody and their mom sees this head versus or this head and shoulders. So it's like if everybody sees it, do you really know if it's going to play out? Not really. It definitely could, but it's like if the market goes down, then obviously Nvidia will go down with it. But you're also trying to short one of the strongest names in the market and has been the strongest name. I mean, I think it's the biggest out of big tech. It's the highest outperformer this year. So I don't really would want to trade this one. Same thing, weekly head and shoulders. You can try. It looks okay, but then again, we're at the 21 EMA. Everyone sees this head and shoulders, so it's probably going to try and fake a lot of people out. And we've got a weekly squeeze, so this one can be a little tricky to play. But if the market sees downside, this one's going to see downside as well. So I'd pay attention to the markets. And if you think the markets are going to go down, I would play Nvidia to the downside. Just keep it simple as that. AMD. This one looks like a pretty good short. Let's see. Yeah. If you can get momentum to turn lower on this one, I think this one would be a pretty easy short to the downside. So this one looks pretty good for downside. So you can see it's pretty obvious. Like if you go to the daily time frame, the trend. So what's probably next? A lower low, just based on the trend we're already in. It might be creating a double top here. So I wouldn't be surprised to see this one head lower. And then not to mention, we have all this resistance right here of all these EMAs here. So more than likely, it's probably going to head lower. And we just had a 4-hour squeeze fire off. So I do think this one will probably head lower. It could go fill this small gap here. It's probably, I would be surprised if it didn't go retest 100 at least, and then potentially fill this gap around 95. And then let's see here. Amazon, I think this one looks like a good short, but then again, we also have the earnings report coming up. So that's the tough part about this. It's like the chart looks good, but we have earnings coming up. So do you want to gamble on earnings? That's kind of your opinion, or kind of up to you on that one. But I think this one looks good for a short. I think it's ready to head lower. This weekly or this daily squeeze could easily fire off, and get us back to 420. Throw that on there. This one looks like an easy move to 420. And then that's Amazon. When you say ES, 4,200 on ES, would that be 420 for SPY? So 4,250 is 425 for SPY. So honestly, yeah, it may correlate like that. The problem is SPY has dividends and things like that, so it does affect the pricing of the actual like SPY's pricing. So the easiest way to look at it is say, okay, like look, here's the see the support we have here, or resistance. Now if you look at ES, same kind of thing here. So I would look for, so this support here that we've seen multiple times is the same support here. So I would be looking for between like 416 and 418.50, right around there, would coincide with the same as this here. Disney. Four-hour squeeze. Daily looks good. Looks like a short for sure. 4-hour, yeah, just wait for the momentum to flip on this, and this could be a pretty good short. I like that. You can kind of see we had a break of structure here. So it wouldn't be surprising if we had a little bit of a move up back to the EMAs and then a move down. So I do like that one for a short. It looks pretty good. I do like AMD the best out of all these that I've looked at so far. What about the weekly? Yeah, this one just keeps making 52-week lows, so I wouldn't expect it to do anything different until the trend kind of changes. Apple. Yeah, this one looks like a great short too. This one would be a pretty, if you can pick it up near this 175, I'd try to take it down to 170 and then this low here around 167.50. So this one looks like a good short. I do like this one. Looks good for a short for sure. I like this one for a short. Looks good. And I'd kind of play it based on this 4-hour here. That looks like a good short. I mean, it's the same as the market, right? Downtrend. So continue to play it as such. Meta, same thing as the rest of these that have earnings this week. It's just a gamble. Yeah, it's just a gamble. There's nothing really to trade here. We had this good pop. I know a lot of people in the chat, Signals chat, played this based off the squeeze. Worked out beautifully. They ran up really quick, and now it's kind of just losing its momentum. Same thing with Google. It looks better than the rest of the market. So those are kind of the outperformers right now. Dell. This one, little tough to say, but I'm leaning towards a short. Reason being, you can see the EMAs are starting to cross over. We got this big gap to fill, and then the 4 hours starting to roll over. You could see this name head lower. I would look for it to take out this support here. Like first, if you were to play it short, I would look to have it go test this level again. Basically this area right here. This area right here, around 64, 63, where the gap starts. And it's either going to bounce at this gap or it's going to try to go fill it, which I don't know if I try to play the whole gap fill. I'd peel some off as you go further lower. Like first I'd look for 61 and then this area here around 57 and then ultimately the gap fill. That's kind of how I'd go about this one, but I would lean towards a short on this one. I mean, if the rest of the market falls, all these things are going to fall with it. Keep it simple. If spies falls, it's the rest is going to fall. There may be some. Okay. Mara, this one looks like a great short, in my opinion. I have not looked at this chart in a while. Yeah, this one, I may actually play this one. This one looks really good. This one looks like a bear flag ready to fall off a cliff. So I like this name a lot. For a short, back into kind of this area right here. So this name looks great for a short. So I'd look to play this one to the downside and kind of target that $5 area. I mean, that's a huge drop, but first I'd target here, the $7, trail up your stops until it gets to around that 550 area. But that one looks great. Thank you for sending that. Mara and AMD look really good based on what you guys have sent already. NIO. Once again, this one looks like a short, and I expect it to fall. I would think it's going to fall to $7. Kind of goes along with the idea of the internet stocks. This one's probably going to fall. The other Chinese names will probably fall with this one. So yeah, that's what I would kind of look for on each of these names. NIO, it's just, I'd like to play with a squeeze. You know, I prefer to play squeeze plays. Yeah. So I would like to play it with a squeeze. It doesn't have one. You can play this 30-minute one. Yeah, I'd play this 30-minute squeeze here and go to this 734 area. Yeah, so there's nothing really to go long. I'm not looking to go long anything because the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq both look bearish. So until that turns around, which earnings could save the day and turn stuff around, but not looking to go long anything based on how the markets look. Especially with the fact that the dollar looks like it's ready to take off again. So if this flies up, the rest of the market will head down. It kind of trades opposite of each other, right? Okay. Can you share the tickers which you're going to go long or short in the chat in the Discord? Sure. But really, I'm paying attention to the SPY and NASDAQ, and I'm looking to go short both on a bounce. So I'm really just looking to short the market. So I'm not really paying attention to other tickers right now. I'm just paying attention to the overall market. So I really, if you want to put something in your notes, I'm watching SPY and QQQ short. More importantly, I'm looking to take SPY short and take it back to, if we can get a bounce, I'd like to take it to 420, this 418, 415 area, and then see if it will head lower from there. UXVY, I mean, that's the VIX. Am I going to go long on it? No, it's already taken off, right? So like it's already gone. So like this, you could go long this or you could go short the market. It's just whichever one you decide to play. But yeah, this was pretty clean long setup if you did decide to take it. But yeah, so I think we could see this head to $25 pretty easy if the market continues to go lower. We broke support. So yeah, if literally the VIX pretty much moves inverse to SPY. So if you're going to go long the VIX, you're going to short, you can short SPY, and it will pretty much do the same idea. But if that's all you guys got, that's all I have, and that's kind of my analysis on the markets and what I'm going to be looking to do into this week. And yeah. Any other tickers, last minute tickers you want me to look at, or are we good to go? Covered a lot. Yes, the trend is your friend. Up. This looks like a meme stock. I wouldn't touch it. Personally, I'm not going to trade this. I'm not really sure what this brand is. Just looks like a meme stop. It looks like GameStop. So really, I'd probably short it because every time it has a pop, it just continues to drop after. Pop, drop, pop, drop. This one, okay, so if you're investing in this one, I wouldn't be invested in this one. Um yeah, I don't like this name long term. It just comes down to like, okay, think about it. Would you rather be long a chart that looks like this where it has no direction? It's like GameStop. It popped one time. Now everybody that didn't catch that move wants to see if it'll happen again. So I wouldn't do that one. Would you rather be long this or something like this where it's in a clear uptrend? You know what I mean? Or like this, Microsoft. Would you rather invest in something that's like this or that? You know what I mean? Google, I don't think I'm going to touch that one just because earnings are coming up. I'd rather play the indexes. Man, there's no way you can. Sunil Raj, I'm sorry if I butchered your name, but there's no way you can watch that many tickers. I would just pick a few. The market, it's these tickers are going to do whatever the market ends up doing. So I would kind of just pay attention to it that way. Don't put too many names on your watch list. Just get to know a few of them and trade them like that. So this one looks pretty good. I think we can continue upside as long as the market's okay, or this thing might do its own thing. But yeah, I think this one we could probably continue higher. And as long like I would like to see the momentum on the weekly squeeze flip back upside to see this one continue upside. So that's kind of my opinion on that. I would like to, if it does shift, you could trade this one for the longer term, look for it to break 20 and head back to like that $25 area. All right, guys. That's all I got. Thank you guys for coming. If you have other tickers you want to look at, really just narrow your focus. Start paying attention to the overall market because the rest of these things are going to move like the rest of the market. And yeah, if you're trading along with the market, a lot of these stocks are going to move in the same way. So it's a lot safer to trade that way. But if you guys have other tickers, let me know and I can kind of go over those in the chat. But DM if you have questions, message me in the trade floor and I can take a look at what you're looking at. But just keep in mind, anything you're going to be watching is probably going to move very similar to what the market does. All right, guys. Thank you guys for coming. Have a good rest of your night, and I'll see you for the markets tomorrow.